Howdy all, Dean Stilley here from the official home of unofficial Grateful Dead and music news. Reporting on Shakedown stream, get 5/11/91 at Shoreline. Before I get started, happy birthday to Workingman's Dead, released 50 years ago today on 6/14/1970. And tonight, to celebrate, my pal Mark from Dead on Live. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of Dead on Live, but Dead on Live recreates Grateful Dead material note for note. And when I first heard about that, I thought to myself, why on earth would anybody recreate something note for note when the Dead never played anything the same way twice? And then I was able to see the process and how they go about doing it. Is really like the ultimate obsession to dig into a song and try to get everything just exactly perfect. This is quite an undertaking and an obsession, and these guys pull it off great. Tonight, Mark, to celebrate 50 years of Workingman's Dead, Mark will be doing Workingman's Dead on their Facebook page. He'll go live. That's Dead on Live on Facebook. That'll be 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. So, Mark, look forward to seeing that. There you go. Let's get on with the show here at Shoreline. It's interesting. When I heard that this was the show and they announced it last week, I didn't have a lot of recollection of it, which is surprising because typically shows with a do I remember, as I figured it out later. But so I didn't have a lot of recollection of these May shows. I know May 12th, the Sunday, never miss a Sunday show. That night was a good one. You got Althea and High Time, second set. Help Slip Frank, Looks Like Rain Terrapin. That's some good stuff. When you get the High Time in the first set, so a lot of times you don't get that Garcia ballad post space. Garcia gave you that instead. This is a decent trade-off. Anyway, I remember that one. I remember the August show is pretty good because they did May and August, Cal Expo Shoreline in '91. The August shows I remember, I was a taper at those shows, had a dream they were going to bust out Lazy Lightning, so woke up the morning before the Cal Expo shows in August and went out and got a DAT player and became a taper. And we got Supplication, we got the Supplication, that was as close as we got, that Uncle John Supplication. That's a good show, that last one there in August. Anyway, we're here in May. The band takes the stage, and you get Half Step. It's incredibly apparent that Garcia's going to give zero fucks about getting lyrics right tonight. He's just fumbling around on Half Step. Sounds good. I'm not sure it looks great. It kind of looks tarred. It looks like he was hanging out with John Conn or something before this one. I don't know. He's not feathered, but he sure does look tarred throughout. They get this thing started with that, as I always love Half Step. So Bruce, on the pre-show, Bruce, he can interview himself. He's a talking ass motherfucker. He does pretty good. You ask him a question, you go make a sandwich or something, you come back, he'll still be answering that question. He was an easy interview. It was fun to see him, see what he's, listen to his takes on all this stuff. So anyway, Wang Dang Doodle you get next. Garcia and Hornsby, they have a moment. Garcia shuts it down quick. No, he closes the bromance down quick. They have a little moment together, and Wang Dang's just fine. As you get Peggy O's up next, Garcia's great on that. Nobody fiddles with the knobs during solos more than Garcia. Garcia always fiddling with the knobs. Always just a little bit of, you just need a little bit of something else, just a little less of something, a little more. So during solos, I've never seen anyone fiddle with knobs more than Garcia, and I love it. I love it. That's just one of those things that's just completely Garcia. Phil, amazing on Peggy O. Phil just sounds great on that. At this point, they're sounding much happier than they're looking. I don't know if anyone is looking all that happy, but they're sounding it. So Queen Jane's next. Queen Jane, Hornsby gives the squeeze box a workout. He got a face on during this one. It's like he's concerned. It's like if you saw a kitten stuck in traffic, like the face you'd make. That's kind of like the face Hornsby's making during the squeeze box solo on Queen Jane, but he got some faces on that night. The Garcia looks like he's way down. Bruce looks like he's cranked way up. Although in the mix he was relatively restrained. I thought Vince killed it all night long. Really, this was a much better showing on Vince than I remembered, but Vince was great all night long. Then you get to, I'm thinking to myself at this point, I'm not sure why we're getting this show, and then we get the bird song, and once again, that just goes to show you that Lemieux knows better than anybody else why you're going to get this stuff. The bird song, unbelievable. I mean, this jam is incredible. Extended and just all kinds of incredible sounds and things happening through that one. I mean, at one point, Bill, his right hand was having such a workout. He was watching it. He was actually watching his own arm make the music, and I don't blame him. I might have been doing the same thing. I mean, he was swinging shit, he was hitting shit, he was making it happen. Mickey the same way, total beast mode, the guys back there. They show a kid on the screen, and I'm wondering, like, I wonder what that kid's up to now. Kid's got to be 40 years old or so. I wonder how things worked out for that kid they showed on the screen. I hope they worked out good. Anyway, incredible improv through Birdsong. Birdsong, undoubtedly the highlight of the first set. They close it out with Promised Land, and that was always a great way to finish a first set. So anyway, we come out for the second set here. Saturday night, rockin' way, get it started. Let's just open it up with Saturday Night on Saturday night. I prefer that to putting it in there at the end. It was great to hear it opening up the set, and that was rocking. They get they play Aiko, and Aiko, I always liked when they played songs that were typically warm-up songs when they were already warmed up. And you know, sometimes those half steps in the second set and those Aikos in the second set, they got a little bit extra on them because a lot of times they're used as songs to get things warmed up, and when they play those same songs already warm, they got a little extra on them, and Aiko was like that. I thought it was outstanding. You get to playing, this is when things got really good. Playing sounded like a fucking meteor traveling through a solar system made of syrup. I mean, this thing was just the force it was moving, yet sonic resistance that seemed to be making some kind of attempt to restrict the journey, but playing was having none of it. It was a meteor traveling through there. Things were melting down and being rebuilt. Unbelievable jams through that. Uncle John's is up next, and these jams, this is like, it says they get on with the song, the solos and the jams throughout, they're like a snake shedding its skin. I mean, it seemed like they were musically pulling away layers that didn't belong, and there was they were dying just as quickly as vivid and new thoughts and new skin was underneath being exposed. I mean, these jams were just in a state of decay and growth at the same time. It was very interesting listening to those things being built up as quickly as they were breaking down. I had a great time listening to that Uncle John's. That had the little something extra on it, and it reminded me of those times. That's why you were there, for this kind of spiritual exfoliation. And that jam was like that. We were being spiritually exfoliated by the music. It was tearing away layers of things we didn't need. Underneath was the things that would serve us. We got rid of things that were just unsustainable, and our soul came through with a fresh skin and shiny and smooth and ready to tackle some more. Anyway, it's a far out experience I had listening to that Uncle John's. I was just living there, right there in it. Drums, great time during drums. As usual, Mickey in total beast mode, Billy as well. Space, you know, I talked last week about different kinds of spaces and stuff like that. This space kind of like had the Back to the Womb experience to me. And a vast musical interpretation of the word Om. That's kind of what this one seemed like. Some of them are a little more introspective. Some of them produce edifying thought. We talked about that one last week, and this one for me was a Back to the Womb experience, along with a vast musical interpretation of the word Om. Anyway, who knows what the hell I was thinking when I took those notes. So we're coming out of space. It seems like you're getting everything out of space. They touched on everything. It ultimately ends up being Miracle. And they get Miracle underway. It's raging, and for some reason I just can't stop thinking about how fucking uncomfortable I'd be wearing that sweater Phil's got on. For some reason that was my dominant thought through Miracle. I wanted it to go away, but it came to visit for a little bit. There you go. Consumed by Phil's sweater during Miracle. Great work by Vince throughout. I mean, the brother, like I said, was killing it all night long, and he's having the time of it there during the Miracle. Fantastic. That one comes to a close, and here to feel the infinite possibilities exists when you hear the first notes of the do. You know the potential for a legendary experience exists. You know that the potential is there, and they get on with the do. And like I said, the really good do's over time, I'm typically well acquainted with them. This one I wasn't. I realized why. The money verse there got botched. Garcia didn't make it to the microphone. The young man mourning. That verse is to me the vocal end of the do kind of can live and die on that verse, and it was a little bit botched. And then you go to the end, the delicate solo MIDI, and to me I knew exactly at that point why I didn't remember this do, because the do to me, this is just my personal opinion. Opinions vary, and that's okay, but to me that moment of the do at the end it's such a genuine moment, and the MIDI part in that delicate part, to hear that MIDI, which is less authentic, I'll say, of a sound, so kind of a fabricated sound, didn't jive at all to me with the genuine and sincere just emotion that's in that delicate part of that last solo. It was mostly MIDI on that, and I'm never a huge fan of the MIDI in the do. I didn't like it at all, and it helped me to realize why I really didn't remember that do. All the way at the end, there's one part that turns the MIDI off, and things got abundantly better once that happened. To me, the MIDI made it less good. It was cool seeing Mickey. Mickey was swinging shit all over the place. I mean, he was emotionally invested 100% in the moment. So anyway, there you go. You get round and round afterwards, which lets you know the do wasn't that remarkable, because when it is, there's really nothing left to say. MSG87 says fuck you on that. You get good lovin', La Bamba, good lovin'. So I guess that doesn't always hold up after one of the great do's of all time. So anyway, the round and round closes things out. So Mighty Quin's your encore. Garcia seems mighty fucked up. It really. It's interesting, 91, and I don't know shit about what he went through personally. I'd never pretend to know what he was going through personally. It almost seems to me like the romance period with some of the, getting back into some of the darker chemicals. In the romance period of that, you're feeling pretty good about it and you're functioning pretty good, and that's not sustainable at all. That you can't keep that up. But initially things can stay together and even start sounding really good. But for this one, the band sounded much happier than they looked. It didn't appear as though there was an abundance of joy up there, but it sounded that way in parts. So there you go. There's Shoreline 51191. There's your conversation starter. We'll talk about it. I just get things started, not the grand poopah, just here to start a conversation. I love you forever. I look forward to seeing you next week. And tonight, check out Dead on Live on Facebook at 8 p.m. Eastern, celebrating 50 years of Workingman's Dead. Love you forever.